Hey everyone, welcome to my cartoon art studio. I'm going to show you around my space here, and it'll be one of two parts. I have three different drawing stations, and today we're going to be looking at two of them, but also in my studio here, we're going to be looking at a lot of knickknacks, cartoon-related things that I've accumulated over my 5-decade career, including these guys back here. On this wall, you'll find the first of a bunch of framed cartoons, some done by me, some done by other artists that decorate both here, my studio, and the house. I want to start with this one up here. This is a particular favorite because this is my first cartoon I published in The Economist 48 years ago. This features a British politician by the name of Denis Healey. Ever since then, I've published about 11,000 cartoons. This cartoon also is a first of its kind. It's my first cover for the magazine The Economist. And I've done over 150 covers for various different magazines and books. This is a caricature of me done by the great British caricaturist, Paul Moisey. So I have a whole bunch of caricatures done of me by others. And that's partly because when cartoonists get together, they like to draw each other. I think I have over 45 or 50 caricatures done of me by other artists. And it's funny, on the back of it, he even do another sketch. Let's see if we can see that. Oh, see, there's another one that he had done of me as well. This cartoon done by Wally Fawkes, the British cartoonist, who signed his cartoons Trog. One of my favorite caricaturists when I was living in the UK, he did this cartoon for me as a departing present in 1988. So this is one of three drawing stations I have to do my cartoons. I like this one because the light is really great here. So if I'm doing any color work, this is particularly a good spot. Got my prerequisite scores of paintbrushes, lots of art materials here, a whole pile of different kinds of watercolor paper that I use, each for having different qualities and used for different purposes. Above we have a selection of books. Now I used to have over 200 cartoon books, and Ohio State University has grabbed my cartoons, or shall I say, I was delighted for them to take them from me. They took about 10,000 cartoons, I think. And we had all these books, many of them signed to me from the artists. And I was happy for them to have those too, so that other people could enjoy them rather than having them just be sitting on my shelf. But I do still have some here. And you may recognize some of the names of these people. I also have, here's a few more caricatures, a couple more caricatures of myself. Let me get this light off so it doesn't cast a shadow on it. The top is a Syrian cartoonist named Yosef, and the bottom is the great American caricaturist, Steve Brodner. I just love that caricature. So over here, I mentioned before my first cartoon. Well, the first cartoon I showed you before was maybe the first cartoon that I was paid to do. This may be the first cartoon I remember having ever been printed. This was, as you can see in the bottom there, December 1970 is a cartoon I did in high school when I was a sophomore for an issue for their quarterly newspaper. And what's so funny about this, it has to do with this brand new restaurant that was really hot in the 70s called McDonald's. And back in those days, it literally did have golden arches on each side. Well, a new McDonald's opened up near to our school. And it was a real problem because students were sneaking off campus to go down and get lunch at McDonald's. Well, what happened was the school sent officers to come down and round up the students, bring them back to school. And we had our normal cafeteria where people would eat was called Berkman's Cafeteria. And the byline, or say the catchphrase of McDonald's at the time was, McDonald's is your kind of place. And so my punchline was, but Officer Berkman's Cafeteria is not my kind of place. So not bad for a first cartoon, I'd say. So over here, I'm approaching my wall of knickknacks and fun stuff. These are little tidbits that I've gotten throughout my travels. Some are my favorites. Oh, I'll start here with a beer can. This was a series of beers created in Baltimore for a company called Raven Beer. They did Poe-related beers, and they commissioned me to do the labels, and did those and really enjoyed it. For a while I was in with as much beer as I wanted to get. Also here, I talked before about caricatures being drawn of me by our colleagues. I was visiting Lebanon as part of a State Department outreach program. And there I met a whole bunch of Lebanese cartoonists, and one of them had done this fabulous little figurine of me as a cartoonist. And so I'm so delighted to still have that here. Also, you'll find here and over here examples of mugs. And this is a famous cartoon I did started with the Baltimore Sun in 1989, later reproduced by The Economist in 1997 on its cover. And this cartoon has been reproduced scores, if not hundreds of times, and ever since. It's not just appeared on mugs, but it's appeared in many books, textbooks, history books. And I still get requests regularly for people who want copies of it to hang on their wall. So I've had lots of interesting inquiries about using cartoons. One of my favorite ones was somebody had made a series of M&Ms, and see if I can get a close-up of here, where I had see if I can get that in focus. Don't know. There you go. You could bust say that M&M's got a caricature on it of somebody. I don't remember who it was, but I suspect that's the smallest any one of my cartoons has ever been reproduced. Up above is a few of the awards that I've been very lucky to have received over the years. Among them is this tall brown one, which is actually my first award that I can remember cartoon related. It was called Feature Cartoonist of the Year by the Cartoonist Club of Great Britain, and that was in 1982. Pretty close to the beginning of my career. I was so excited to get that award. This, to me, is one of my favorite and one of the great honors of my life. The career is winning the Herb Block Prize. It's named after Herb Block, the longtime cartoonist for the Washington Post, who worked there for decades and maybe even published about 20,000 cartoons, even a lot more than I did. And they give this award out once a year. It is held at the Library of Congress. It's a fantastic ceremony. It's presented by the Herb Block Foundation, set up by Herb Block, and it's just a wonderful thing. It's one of my great treasures. There are some other awards here, too, of all sorts. This one's interesting. Press Cartoon Europe, the only award that's probably a moving award as well. That's quite fun. And these aren't awards, but they're kind of fun things. I like to sculpt sculptures of caricatures of the people that I will be drawing, because it does help you get to understand their faces a lot better. So moving from my knick-knack station, I'm going to bring you to my second drawing station, which is where I do much larger work. Great for doing color paintings and for just basically spreading stuff out so you can see a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. This is one of my originals, so you can see approximately how they fit into the scale here. This is on an 11 by 14 piece of paper. The artwork itself is more like, 12 by 8 when you kind of get in really close. But when you go back, as you can see, there's lots of space. I wanted to tell you about this interesting story. This is a box frame that I have pertaining to a special cartoon that I did back in 1992. And it was the election between There you go, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, and Ross Perot. And there's a funny story behind this because the cartoon first appeared here in the Baltimore Sun. Then I was told that a magazine in Asia wanted to reproduce it. When they sent me the cover there, it looked like this. They had built figurines of all the characters. And then later they sent me those very same figurines right here. And how cool is that to have those things brought over here? And now I have them in a nice decorative box to be able to tell people like you about the cool project. And then there's this baby I wanted to share with you. This is, speaking of caricatures, and Parrish has done with me, this is one of my favorite, done by Steve Sack, the American cartoonist, who I am looking forward to introducing you to through a post later showing some of his amazing work. And this was done with a 3D printer. He created this digitally online and then churned this out. And again, he's emphasizing the nose. What is going on here? Anyways, speaking of sculptures, these guys are also in my studio. It's Hillary Clinton and George W. Bush and Barack Obama. These are larger than life-size sculptures. This is done in plasticine, which I did for a special project I was doing with The Economist and Second City, the improv comedy troupe based in Chicago. And for that, I created these large sculptures, which then were scanned, and in it we created 3D creatures that could be animated in real time. And the idea was to be able to make basically cartoons, political cartoons that could be created very quickly, that were animated. But this was the early days of motion capture. And the technology wasn't quite there, but it was very exciting playing with it. And I hope to show you guys some samples of what we created. So the next time we get together in my studio, we're going to take you to the third drawing station, where I do a lot of my current work. And not only am I going to show you the technology that's often used in the cartoons, the steps and the way that the cartoons are created, but I think we may even do some live sketching. So we'll be able to, you might even be able to join me in on that. But I have to tell you, it's been a pleasure for me to show you this wonderful space that I have. And I'm so delighted that you support me on Substack. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.